Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely profound text that breaks down something we literally take completely for granted every single day, the everyday illusion of me. We walk around gripping this idea of myself so tightly in absolutely everything we do. But what if that self isn't exactly what we think it is? What if the experiencer sitting inside your head right now is actually just a highly convincing trick of the mind? Let's jump right in and deconstruct the exact mechanics of mindfulness.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to visualize a scenario that, honestly, we have all experienced. Imagine someone is standing right in front of you, and they are scolding you. They're raising their voice, maybe even insulting you, intentionally trying to cause you hurt. Naturally, your gut reaction is to get upset, right? But the source material we're looking at today drops this totally startling opening revelation. When someone is scolding you, it is literally just vibrating air. That's it. No magic, just sound waves moving through space from their mouth to your ear. So the text poses this fascinating, almost jarring question to kick things off. Why do we get so deeply angry at vibrating air? How does a simple physical vibration turn into such intense emotional suffering?
Well, to answer that, we have to look closely at the source's absolute core premise. The text states that there is absolutely no permanent I experiencing the world. I know, that sounds crazy, but think about it. That heavy feeling you have of a permanent, solid self who wakes up, goes to work, gets insulted, and suffers through life, the text argues that this is a complete illusion. According to the source, what's actually happening are just tiny, isolated sensations being born and dying every single blinking second. A feeling arises, and then boom, it vanishes. That's literally all it is. And the secret to freeing a racing, anxious mind? It's deeply understanding and observing this constant birth and death of sensations with your heart, instead of clinging to the illusion of a permanent sufferer.
Section 1. The 6 Sensory Doors, Pathways of Reality.
Now, to truly grasp this concept, we have to look at the exact mechanics of how we actually experience the world around us, and this brilliantly illustrates the 6 strict doors of perception outlined in the text. These are absolutely the only ways our internal world connects to the outside. We've got sight, which is simply the eye seeing form; sound, the ear hearing sound; smell, the nose smelling an odor; taste, the tongue tasting flavor; touch, the body feeling contact; and finally thought, which is just the mind processing memory or ideas. That is the entire list. We are essentially highly sophisticated sensory processing machines, and these 6 distinct doors are the only pathways for sensations to enter our inner being.
But here's where the grand illusion really begins. The text emphasizes a crucial, absolutely fascinating point. These sensations fire sequentially. They never ever happen simultaneously. One single sensation arrives, and then it completely fades away right as the next one is born. But here's the catch. This process happens at an unbelievably rapid, almost incomprehensible speed. Because it is so incredibly fast, the mind pulls a trick on us. It creates a massive illusion right in front of our eyes, basically tricking us into thinking, hey, there's one single person experiencing all of this at exactly the same time, and that person is me. Section 2. Deconstructing a coffee cup, a mundane activity.
Let's apply this to something super practical. I want you to think about the intimate mechanics of drinking a hot cup of coffee when you're desperately tired and basically relying on it just to function as a human being. You usually assume, I am drinking this coffee and I am enjoying the flavor, right? But let's pace through the exact sequential steps as the text describes them. First, your eye sees the cup. That's just an isolated act of seeing, no you there. Second, as you bring the cup closer, your nose smells the aroma, just smelling. Third, your skin feels the heat of the mug, just touching. Fourth, the liquid hits your tongue and you taste it, just tasting. It's only at the 5th and final step that your mind swoops in, pieces these rapid, isolated sensory inputs together with past memories, and creates the story, wow, this is delicious. At each isolated point in time, there is no you. It's just a solitary sensory action happening one right after the other.
Section 3. The movie reel mind, the grand illusion. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it explains the way our brain stitches these isolated inputs together to completely fool us. The source uses a brilliant metaphor here. Think about watching a beautiful film. You aren't actually looking at moving images, you're looking at hundreds of rapid still photographs flashing by every single second. Because they move so incredibly fast, your brain perceives them as a continuous living story. Well, your mind works the exact same way. Rapid, isolated sensations are flashing by, a sight, a smell, a touch, a thought. And because they switch at an unimaginable speed, your brain weaves them together to create the continuous illusion of I.
The great lie of a continuous me is exactly the same as the illusion of motion in a movie. Wild to think about, right?
Section 4, Anatomy of an Insult, Macromechanics.
Now that we have this new mechanical lens, let's zoom back out and apply it to that painful experience we talked about at the very beginning. Someone intentionally scolding us. Watch how the sequence unfolds frame by frame when we slow down the film. Step 1. Your ear hears a sound. As we noted, this is literally just vibrating air. Step 2. In the next fraction of a second, the mind attaches past memories and words to that sound, giving it meaning. It decides, this is an insult directed at me. Step 3. Simultaneously, the body reacts to that meaning by triggering chemical changes. Your heartbeat rises, your blood boils, and anger rises. Normally, we cry out in suffering, "I was scolded," or "I am so angry right now." But when we break it down like this, we see it's really just a parallel sequence of physical vibrations, psychological meaning-making, and biological chemical reactions.
So the crucial point is, it is just a machine's process. Let's just slow down for a moment here, really reflect deeply on this. The text is revealing that our daily suffering, our anger, our hurt pride, it all comes solely from claiming this mechanical process as me. When you say, "I am hurt," you are actually mistakenly taking ownership of an impersonal chain reaction of sound waves and bodily chemicals. Recognizing that this is literally just a machine operating is the absolute key to stepping completely outside of the suffering.
Section 5, Finding Ultimate Freedom, Shattering the Illusion.
So, where does this realization actually leave us? What happens when we finally stop claiming the machine's process as our own identity? Well, the text leaves us with this beautifully summarizing thought. By deeply understanding these mechanics, that heavy illusion of the self shatters. And when it does, the text promises that you will feel eternal freedom and an infinite deep peace. You find the ultimate solution to the problem of taking things personally. You no longer react with panic or anger. Instead, you can simply watch the mechanics of the world unfold with great, profound equanimity.
I want to end the explainer by leaving you with a really powerful question straight from the source text. Be quiet for a moment, look deeply into your own inner self, and ask, if you completely remove seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking, where exactly are you? If we're really nothing but the rapid sequential firing of these 6 sensory doors, what separate entity is left when they are gone? It's a provocative thought that perfectly summarizes the deconstruction of the self. I hope this analysis leaves you captivated, feeling maybe a little lighter, and eager to continue exploring the incredible mechanics of your own mind.